Welcome back. He's a University of Michigan student and also the co-founder of a project where he's running 200 miles across the state. Brendan LaFrenier is live with us in studio this morning. Thanks so much for being here, Brendan.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, excited to chat with you. This project is called Endurance for Change. Tell us what that is.
Yeah, so starting Monday, in a couple days here, I'm going to run 200 miles across the state of Michigan to raise awareness and money for those experiencing homelessness. We're partnered with 10 shelters throughout Detroit, Ann Arbor, Lansing, and Grand Rapids, and our goal is to raise $100,000. We're at $15,000 so far.
Nice.
And I haven't even run a mile. So.
That is really awesome. This is something that you came up with. You're the co-founder of Endurance for Change. Tell us how you came up with this.
Yes, so there was another University of Michigan student who actually biked across the state of Michigan, kind of in a similar route a couple years back, and I knew him, and I was like, I think I could run across the state of Michigan.
Wow.
And you know, I wanted to do it for something bigger than myself, especially when you're 20 hours into running. You need a bigger why.
Yeah, we're seeing video now of some of, the running that you've been doing. Is this in practice of the 200 miles that you're getting ready to accomplish?
Yeah, I have been training for about 8 months now.
Okay.
For this.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Now I know that this sort of started during the pandemic. How did you really get into running?
Yeah, so I had a friend tell me that I wouldn't last a day at cross-country practice, and I was like...
So a hater, basically.
Yeah, I was like, I signed up right away after that. I was like, why not?
Yeah.
And then I kind of fell in love with it, and I knew I wasn't fast, but I could go far. And so that's kind of how I came to do the endurance, and I kind of worked my way up from, half marathon, Ironman triathlon, all the way up to ultra marathons.
Yeah, you were explaining what ultra marathons are. What is that?
Yeah, anything longer than a marathon. So it's anything from like 30 miles all the way up to 200, 300. I mean, people do even crazier stuff like that.
Wow,
yeah.
And you mentioned already doing some marathons that are 100 miles?
Yes, I've ran 100 miles twice. One was for a nonprofit that deals with addiction recovery. And it was so fulfilling, so meaningful, and that's kind of what made me want to do it again for a great cause.
Wow. Well, talk about the cause. You mentioned homelessness being something that you've been passionate about since childhood.
Yeah. So growing up, visiting Grand Rapids. I'm from Grand Rapids, but visiting like Chicago, Detroit. Anytime I saw somebody that was experiencing homelessness, I would get really emotional. I'd start crying, and it was kind of the first time in my life I realized that not everybody had it like me, and that I've been very blessed.
Yeah.
And that kind of inspired me to give back. Volunteered through different church groups growing up at different shelters, and now I'm trying to take it one step further and give back in this manner.
Really cool, and I mean, you've already gotten $15,000. I mean, that's no small feat there. How will it work in terms of the miles that you're running and how this money will then go back to these different homeless shelters?
Yes, so we have a fiscal sponsor. The Michigan Coalition Against Homelessness is our fiscal sponsor, and all the money goes through them, and then they distribute it. So you can actually donate specifically to a region. So if you're from the Grand Rapids region, you want to donate to our 3 shelters that we're partnered with in the region, which are Mel Trotter, Family Promise of West Michigan, and Degage Ministries. You can do that. You can also donate to a specific shelter if you want. So there's a lot of functionality in our fundraising campaign, but everything goes to the Michigan Coalition Against Homelessness, and then they distribute after.
Well, really great cause, and definitely some names that we can all recognize here in West Michigan. So, when we talked earlier, Brendan, I just knew that this was a run you were going to be doing over a span of several days. You're starting Monday, and you're thinking this is just going to take you a couple of days?
Yes, we hope to finish Wednesday at sunset.
Wow. So, I mean, walk me through, how does that work, running 200 miles across the state? What does that process look like?
Right. So a lot of it is based on, energy conservation. So it's more of like a run walk.
Okay.
And that strategy, I'll have a strategy for that, and it may change depending on weather. We might see some snow. So
oh man,
we'll see. But that's the Michigan winter, right?
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's going to be 2.5 days. I will get a little bit of sleep, a couple naps here and there.
Okay.
But yeah, eating the whole time. I mean, I'll eat pizza, sushi, sandwiches while I'm running. I've just kind of trained my body to do this.
Wow.
Over the course of a couple of years. So yeah.
That is really something. I mean, I am not a runner, so I'm really impressed by that. For sure. You've also talked about Endurance for Change, sort of combining all these different aspects. I mean, community service and that you're giving back to the people experiencing homelessness, but there's also like a filmmaking aspect as well. Talk about that.
Yeah, so I'm the co-founder of Endurance for Change. The other co-founder is a dear friend of mine named Nick. He is a film major, and we're working with a few professors from the University of Michigan and a film team to kind of shine light on some of the misunderstood aspects of homelessness. So what we did is we visited all 10 of the shelters that we're fundraising for. We interviewed staff and clients and kind of heard their stories and kind of discovered, some of the misunderstood aspects of homelessness.
So when are you all planning to put that piece together?
So post-production will take, from after this all the way into end of summer, early fall, and we plan to release it in the fall.
Well, definitely come back and let us know once you have that project complete. Really cool what you all are doing here. Anything else that you want people to know about how they can help along this process?
Yeah, I think the best way to really support is, share, donate, and then also just kind of look at homelessness a little different. So speaking to these people, you see somebody on the side of the street, and they might be asking for money. That's not a good representation of homelessness. A lot of these people that are battling homelessness are still going to school, are still going to work. A lot of it is housing affordability, especially in some of these cities throughout Michigan. So we just feel like there's kind of a bad stigma, and we're trying to destigmatize them, throughout the film.
What a great message. Before we go, I do want to talk a little bit more about you. You think, okay, this guy is just training all day long. No, not exactly. He's also a University of Michigan senior, making big plans with your career outside of running. Tell us about you.
Yeah, so I'm a chemistry major. I am going to optometry school next year in New York, so big life change, right? Trying to cruise into the finish line into graduation here, and I've been able to manage it pretty well, I think. So.
Well, I am so impressed. Please keep us posted along your journey. Sounds like you've got quite the feat ahead of you, but I have no doubt that you'll make it happen, and I hope you reach your goal of $100,000.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here. Best of luck to you. We're back right after this.